Good day, my name is Mr. Announcer, and it is now time for the Balcony Brotherhood to read and respond to your...
You've got...
email.
We're mass communicating.
Dropping the guys a quick note is the best way to interact with the show, and you can do so by sending all your emails to balconybrotherhood@gmail.com. While Confucius may be misquoted here, the quote is still valuable advice. The man who asks a stupid question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not ask a stupid question is a fool for life. Gentlemen, it is time to read your emails.
And thank you for downloading this mini-sode of the Balcony Brotherhood podcast, where we respond to some of the emails that you have submitted. I'm your host today, Mr. Paul Drake. Mr. Blackard is away from the studio today to tend to a personal issue, and we sure look forward to his return. Okay, let's get to this inbox. I have an email here that says, "To my brothers on the balcony, I just finished listening to the episode regarding depression and anxiety. I too suffer from these terrible diseases, and hearing you take them head on is so greatly appreciated. The interview with Mr. Slater was very helpful in the fact that it gave me information I've never considered before. Keep going with the show, boys. It only gets better." Signed, Arik from Topeka, Kansas. Well, Arik, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to reach out to the show. It was an extremely emotional effort for both Mr. Blackheart and myself. Unfortunately, we see more and more signs of men struggling to make it through the day. We are going to continue to encourage conversation and perseverance to help stop the pain. Again, we really appreciate your email, so since you've given us your contact information, we're going to reach out to you and see about getting some sweet swag from the show.
Number 2.
Our next email reads, Balcony Brotherhood Podcast. There have been so many times that I have found myself failing to meet my bills at the end of every month, despite my wife and I being gainfully employed. Also factor in the fact that we don't have any children and it becomes downright embarrassing. How can I get out of this rut and start getting those proverbial eggs in my nest? This was emails from Ron in Billings, Montana. Ron, at some point all of us need a little help, even if it's in the form of some simple advice. So this is what I can tell you. If you haven't already, sit down with the missus and go over all the ins and outs of your finances to see where your deficiencies are. You may find that simple acts of financial discipline, such as skipping that morning Joe and donut at Krispy Kreme a couple times a week, that can make the difference in whether or not you have lights and water. Also, check out some of those financial-based podcasts that have vast knowledge to help people with money issues. Those of you who follow the Balcony Brotherhood podcast pretty closely, I have an email in our inbox today from our good friend Willie G in Detroit. Today, Willie writes, "So, you want to know what I think that makes the show suck so bad? Well, here it is. First, y'all sound like you're in an echo chamber and it's incredibly difficult to understand. Next, I don't often agree with the advice that you dole out, especially telling me how I need to lead my household in regards to my wife and kids. Now you've got me all frustrated and I can't think straight. Thanks a lot. You guys suck." Willie, first off, thanks for continuing to listen despite our apparent faults. Oftentimes, our location dictates the quality of the audio recorded, and we do our best to minimize the factors that could compromise that quality. You have to remember, sir, Mr. Blacker and I are literally from old-school broadcasting, and we're learning all this new technology and embracing it as best we can so we can get our opinions out to you and other listeners. That segues me into your other contention with our show. We have our views, and they may not work for you, but they work for us and maybe someone else listening. If that's not for you, thanks for giving us the time that you did, and now go feel free to find another show.
Is there a village that needs its idiot back?
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Number 4.
And we have another email that says, "Dear Balcony Brotherhood Podcast, singer, actor, and author Henry Rollins once said, 'I'll never forget how the depression and loneliness felt so good and so bad at the same time.' It still does. This so much applies to my life, and after hearing your episode on depression, I finally understood. Thank you for tackling the issues that men need to discuss more." Signed, Billy in Long Island, New York. Billy, thanks for the note, and you are so right about Mr. Rollins' statement. Depression and anxiety can sit on the fence in your life, but what's important is which side you ultimately lean to. Well, it appears that the inbox has been cleared out, which brings this mini-sode to a close. Thank you again to all of you for listening, and especially to those of you writing into us at balconybrotherhood@gmail.com. Tune in next time for a special edition of the show where who knows what kind of antics we'll get into. For the Balcony Brotherhood podcast, I'm Paul Drake.
Thanks for listening to this bonus mini episode of the Balcony Brotherhood podcast. Encom and Whopper have had a hand in bringing you today's show, and they reserve their respective trademarks. Like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to be informed when the next episode drops. My name is Mr. Announcer, and until next time, cheerio and Hakuna Matata.
You're listening to the Balcony Brotherhood Podcast,
These guys are real experts.
where the guide to living the best man life is just a click away.
That was all just special effects.
Gentlemen, do you read for a hobby? How about your significant other? How long have either of you been looking on Instagram for a page that gives you literary reviews, as well as some very tasty recipes? After all, some of the best chefs in the world are men. Look no further than Books and Crumbs. Books and Crumbs provides reviews of numerous titles, along with recipes that may inspire you to enjoy while reading, or if you just need a weeknight meal. Books and Crumbs is extremely thrilled when fellow bibliophiles and home chefs reach out with their experiences. So the next time you're on Insta, stop by Books and Crumbs to see what is available for you. That's books_the word and_crumbs, your single stop for reads and feeds.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let me see what you can do.
You're listening to the Balcony Brotherhood Podcast, where the guide to living...
That's just how we do it.
Shit. Let me do that again.
Going with the show, boys. It only gets better. Signed, Arik from Topeka, Kansas. Well, Arik, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to reach out to the show. It was an extremely emotional effort for both Mr. Blackheart and myself. Unfortunately, we see more and more signs of men struggling to make it through the day. We are going to continue to encourage conversation and perseverance to help stop the pain. Again, we really appreciate your email, so since you've given us your contact information, we're going to reach out to you and see about getting some sweet swag from the show. Mr. Blackheart, do you have anything to add?